We're back with another exciting tier list, and today we're going to be ranking the time that Stephen A. Smith says.
Weed.
Here's the first one. That's a solid A minus. You had or B plus A minus range. You had the big eyes. You had the duh at the end. That was pretty good, and it just seemed like it was mid sentence. So he had to really draw on the vocal reserves for that. So solid A minus B plus range.
Damn weed.
That was good. You had the little head movement there, and he said the damn weed just further conveys his disgust at these athletes owing him millions of dollars for marijuana usage. So that's like an A, solid A right there.
About weed.
That's a D.
The weed.
Those weren't that good. The very last one had the duh at the end, but I mean those were all like D, C minus. I mean, even Fs. Like it wouldn't pass my class.
The weed.
That's an F. That's a D plus.
The weed.
That was pretty solid. That was mid sentence. You could kind of tell based on like his vocal air energy coming out. You know, it's not like he was resting up and the person asked, "What do you think about this, Stephen A?" And he just could fully charge up a wee duh. So you know, he said he was just like mid rant, and he must have that wee duh. So I'm just gonna give him the A for effort there. He's still like busted out, even though he was like fully in the middle of a sentence. And you know, you just always gotta. You can't just be like those other clips that we saw like in rapid succession where it's just like super weak. So I'm glad he tapped into the reserve for that.
Weed.
That's pretty good too. That's like an A minus right there. You had the absolute look of disgust in his eyes.
The weed.
That's pretty good. The stutter kind of made it for me. I don't want to like give him points for the stutter, but I feel like that's just, you know, emphasizes the disgust that he doesn't even want to say the word weed. Okay, so I'm gonna give that a B plus.
The weed.
That was also solid. That's a solid A minus right there. The audio in that clip's kind of bad, and I don't want to take that away, but that really wasn't that good. He had the head move, but it was like really lazy. I'm gonna give that like a C plus. The head movement was really lazy. He didn't have the duh at the end. It wasn't that strong.
The weed.
Now I didn't have a duh. That's an F.
Weed.
He was like the weed. It really didn't have the duh at the end. That's probably like another F.
Weed.
There you go. That was good. He was pretty lazy about that one overall, but he still had the duh at the end. It was pretty strong. So some of these other clips, he was like, his emphasis is on the middle. He's like weed, but that clip, he kind of saved it all for the end. He's like the weed, and you know he just wanted to finish strong in that one. So I respect that. I'm gonna give that a B.
Weed.
Okay, that had no duh in there. It was pretty weak. That's an F plus.
Weed.
That's a D. Okay, that was a very interesting clip, and now I'm gonna have to give that one an A plus. So, pardon the clip; it was a little choppy. It's the best clip I could find about that particular weed drop. But you had some really cool things in there. You had the head movement, and you had multiple like head swings there. That was like a 720 degree like head rotation there. So I respect that. And then he also had like the false summit, I guess, of the duh. Like he was like the wee duh, and you just wanted to like hit the landing harder. And so he like juked us. He was like, "Oh, it's a soft landing." No, just kidding. I stuck the landing really hard. So I don't know. I just wish you would have just said the duh once and just been done with it. That's why I'm not giving it an S. That's why it's just an A plus. But yeah, still pretty solid weed drop there. First of all, just look at that face. That could be like a thumbnail and profile picture right there. And then you look at Molly and Max, and they're just like, yeah, like this is happening. Like the train started, and there's no stopping it. We just gotta let him do his thing. Okay, that was an S tier weed drop. Okay, you even had Molly say, "Oh," so she appreciated the quality of the weed saying there, the weed rant, where he had the little head, he had the head movement, he had the emphasis on the E's. There must have been like 200 E's in that in that word right there. And then, but he also, despite doing that big middle section with the E's, he still stuck the landing with the duh really well. So he was able to draw back in his vocal reserves and say the duh really good and just stuck the landing. It was perfect. This is how one should say Weeduh.
The Weeduh.
Okay, this one was kind of goofy because it was like a YouTube short that I had to clip, as you can see. However, you know, this was all right. I'm gonna give it an A minus. I mean, it's a solid like Stephen A. saying weed. However, it just kind of trailed off at the end, and I thought that was really weak. And I just, you know, when you say weed, not only do you have to stick the duh, but your e can't trail off at the end. And I just think it loses something by trailing off at the end. So, speaking of trailing off at the end, that's the end of the video.